Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. So let's delve straight into the topic. So I am going to be going through with you who do you think should be Manchester United's number 7 next season. Then after that I am going to be giving you some additional information on Harry Kane. Also going to be talking with you about Dayot Upamecano from RB Leipzig. So yeah, so these are quite a few topics to delve into in that. I will delve into them a bit later on in the video. So, who do you think, should be Manchester United's number 7 next season? Now, I'll reiterate what I've said on my other videos before. Because like I've said, Manchester United, we've had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations and that. We've had the likes of David Beckham, Eric Cantona, George Best, Cristiano Ronaldo. We had once Michael Owen as our number 7 and that. But actually, our recent number 7s haven't been so good, because obviously, Memphis Depay was so inconsistent when we got him under the Louis van Gaal era. Obviously, Alexis Sanchez, I think he was the last number 7 we had. Alexis Sanchez, he's possibly coming back to Manchester United, but we don't want him back at the football club. But Inter Milan are definitely not going to be getting him on a permanent transfer now. So, who should be Manchester United's next number 7? Now, I think it will be Jadon Sancho, our next number 7, if we do sign him in the summer transfer market. I ain't going to fully assure, that we're going to sign Jadon Sancho because it is uncertain at the moment because, you had reports coming out yesterday, like I updated you, saying, we are not prepared to break our transfer record for Sancho. So what we mean in that aspect is that we're not willing to pay £100 million for Jadon Sancho or £120 million. But Dortmund have said they want at least £100 million. I think we are prepared to pay in the £80 million range for Jadon Sancho. But even though we're not willing to meet their asking price, we are still emerged as the favourites to sign Jadon Sancho because reports came out earlier on this week and they actually said that Jadon Sancho has got an agreement with Borussia Dortmund. And Borussia Dortmund will let Jadon Sancho go, providing that their asking price is met. Also, too, Real Madrid and Barcelona have expressed their interest in Jadon Sancho. We've been relentlessly linked with Sancho, and he is one of our priority targets. I already outlined a couple of reasons, why it would be beneficial for us to recommend Jadon Sancho in. Because he's well proven in the Premier League. He's well proven in the Premier League because, don't forget he's a former Manchester City player. Enjoyed a couple of years at Man City, but had to leave Manchester City because, he didn't get any first team opportunities. And before he was at Manchester City, he was at Watford. He actually began his career at Watford and he was at Watford for several years. And also, too, he's got a really, really good friendship with Marcus Rashford. And Rashford, reeled out not too long ago that he wants Jadon Sancho at Manchester United next season. Like I've said to you as well, we have been working on his contracts for quite some time. We've also, been talking with his agent for quite some time. But Jadon Sancho did say if he was to leave Borussia Dortmund, his preference would be a move to Manchester United. Now, of course, if Jadon Sancho is sold in the summer, Manchester City will benefit from it. Because I think it did mention that City do get around 15% of the transfer fee. So this is, what it had basically said. Obviously, reports were coming out a couple of weeks ago saying, if we fail to qualify for the Champions League, then maybe, we could miss out on Jadon Sancho. And I think that's the main explanation why I missed out on him last year, is because, we had no Champions League football to offer. I think Dortmund have come to accept the fact that Sancho wants to leave, so they've got a few players on their agenda that could replace him. Dortmund only paid £8 million for him from Manchester City. So, Dortmund even selling him for £80 million, they're still going to make a huge profit on the player. But Sancho's valuation has persistently grown, with, reflecting on his good performances in Germany. He's now into his 3rd season with Borussia Dortmund. And he's still got a couple of years remaining on his contract. I think he's under contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022. But what's been coming out recently regarding Sancho is totally contrast to what was coming out the other week. Because the other week it was saying that Borussia Dortmund believe they can convince him to stay. They can get him a new 1-year contract worth around £9 million a year, which would make him the second highest paid player at Borussia Dortmund alongside, you know, Marco Reus, because Marco Reus, I think, is the highest paid player at the moment at Borussia Dortmund. But I want Jadon Sancho at Manchester United, and he is predominantly a right winger, and we are in search for a right winger. Don't forget, you know, Trent Alexander-Arnold recently, you know, urged him to sign for Liverpool. Liverpool have been in for Jadon Sancho. You know, don't forget Chelsea have also been in for him. You know, he's actually a lifelong Chelsea fan, is Sancho, but you know, I don't think he'll go to Chelsea. Obviously, of course, Real Madrid were also in for him. But I think, you know, like it mentioned before, for us to fund a move for Sancho and Grealish, you know, we've got to, you know, sell probably around 5 players in the summer transfer market, because Sancho and Grealish, you know, will probably cost us nearly £200 million. You know, they will cost us a hell of a lot of money, but there again, you know, players' values have been dropped by at least 15%, you know, due to the coronavirus pandemic, because a lot of teams are under financial pressure in that. So, yeah, we're willing to offer Jadon Sancho the number 7, and so he's the favourite to be Manchester United's next number 7 if we can sign him. You know, if we can sign him in that. So, yeah, so that is the news on him, and I think we are willing to pay Sancho around 200 grand a week as well. So he'd get the exact same amount as what Marcus Rashford's on. So there you go. Jack Grealish, you know, do you think, you know, if we couldn't get Sancho and we got Grealish, you know, do you think we could put Grealish as our next number 7? Actually, you know, Jack Grealish has been talking, you know, recently, you know, he said, you know, he loved Cristiano Ronaldo's number 7 shirt, you know, as he was growing up and that. So he has made this admission as Jack Grealish. You know, don't forget we've been relentlessly linked with Jack Grealish. He's actually not our number 1 midfield target for the summer transfer market. Now, we do know how much Jack Grealish is going to cost us. He's going to cost us from between 70 to 80 million pounds. That's provided, you know, Villa avoid relegation. You know, if Villa were to be relegated, then I think, you know, the figure would be comparison. I think we'd be able to get him cheaper than 70 or 80 million pounds. I think maybe we could get Grealish for around 30 or 40 million pounds or something like that. But I do expect Jack Grealish to leave Aston Villa in the summer transfer market. I really, really do. You know, and even if Villa were to avoid relegation, I don't think that'd be enough to convince Jack Grealish to remain loyal to them. Now, Jack Grealish has remained loyal to Aston Villa for several years. He's been there for several years, and up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with Aston Villa as Grealish. He's been a Villa player since, the age of 6. He's been in their senior squad since 2014, but since then, he has become an integral part of their team. Now, quite a few clubs have been in for Jack Grealish. Tottenham came close to getting him back in the summer of 2018. You know, City have been in for him, I think, you know, and I think a few other clubs have been in for him. But he is well proven in the Premier League. Did say the other week, you know, that we've got a controversial plan to play him as a right winger if he comes to Manchester United. But Grealish is not predominantly a right winger, you know, he's predominantly an attacking mid. You know, I think he's played on the left quite a lot, though, throughout the course of this season. Grealish has got a contract with Aston Villa until 2023, and he is only at the age of 24. So do you think he'd operate well, you know, do you think he'd operate well in that number 7 role, you know, Jack Grealish? So, yeah. You know, so who will Manchester United's number 7 be next season? As far as I'm aware as well, we have got number 11 vacant, I think. Obviously, you know, Martial used to fulfill that number 11 role. Obviously, you know, this season, no, Martial has been operating in that number 9 role. And I think Martial will remain in that number 9 role because I think, you know, he's looked very, very effective in that central position as Anthony Martial. But in his 4 previous seasons prior to this one, he has been playing out wide as Anthony Martial and that. And Martial now is into his 5th season at the football club. And like I've said to you before, I think one of the best seasons he enjoyed at Man United was his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. But there again, you know, before the football season that was suspended, I thought, you know, he rejuvenated himself. He was in a good vein of form. I think Martial, as he got 16, 17 goals this season. We paid around £36 million in for Monaco, potentially rising up to 57 or 58 million based on goals and achievements. And we got Martial as a 19-year-old and he's now 24. Don't know if he's the foreseeable future for Man United, but I can guarantee he will be at the football club next season, will Anthony Martial. And you've obviously, you know, got Rashford as well, that can play in the number 9. You can play him out wide. Rashford, you know, will I think he'll play out wide when he comes back from his back injury, because he seems to be more effective from that wide position. You know, that's where most of his goals do come from. He has played centrally quite a few times. But when the football season does eventually resume, if it does, Rashford will be back from his back injury, because he has been stepping up his fitness regime. Up until this point, Rashford has spent the entirety of his career with the football club. He has been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. Don't forget, Rashford scored on his debut twice against Midtjylland, his debut in the Premier League twice against Arsenal, his international debut. I think he also scored on his League Cup debut as well. This is when he got into the senior squad in 2016. But I can assure that Rashford is the foreseeable future for the football club, and he is only at the age of 22. So there you go. Revert back to what I said regarding Alexis Sanchez. I hope, that we can get rid of him on a permanent transfer. We probably won't be able to get rid of him on a permanent transfer, so we'll probably consider loaning Sanchez back out again. We can't get rid of him on a permanent transfer. It's reflecting on his wages, isn't it? Sanchez's wages at Man United are like 400 grand a week, potentially rising up to 500 grand a week based on the image rights and the bonuses, and it confirmed quite a few weeks back that Sanchez has refused to take a pay cut. Now, like I said, Inter Milan are not going to get him permanently. Don't forget, earlier on this week, Sanchez had purchased a £2 million apartment in Florida. So there was rumours then saying, he could make a transfer to Inter Miami and stuff like that. I don't know, to be quite honest with you. But I don't want Sanchez back at Manchester United, because he did endure a difficult 18 months with the football club. And he didn't rediscover the form, as what he produced at Arsenal and what he produced at Barcelona when he was younger. And even if he was to be given a second chance, I don't think, he'd do well for us. He wouldn't do well for us. And he's been so inconsistent at Inter Milan. And even though we have loaned him out to Inter Milan, we're still paying the vast majority of his wages. We're still paying Sanchez 300 grand a week, and Inter Milan are paying the other 100 odd grand a week. And I think, Sanchez is under contract with us until 2022. So I don't want Sanchez, to be our number 7 again. I really, really don't. So I think it'll be Jadon Sancho, our next number 7, if we can get him from Borussia Dortmund. But we've said basically, we want to make around 4 signings in the summer transfer market, but I don't see it as making 4 signings, to be quite honest with you. We could only make 1 signing, and that could be Jadon Sancho, or we could make 2 signings, I don't know. But, Solskjaer says we need around 4 signings anyway to become title contenders next season. I like what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said quite a few weeks ago, because he said, we will exploit the transfer market when it does open. And I've got to make an admission, to be fair, we have improved in the transfer market under Solskjaer. So that's another thing that's improved under Solskjaer. What I mean is we've been a bit more sensible with our recruitment in the transfer market. We've been obviously, criticised, for overpaying for players in recent years. And obviously, Ed Woodward has received a lot of criticism because, like I've said to you before, we have recruited over 30-odd players since the Alex Ferguson era. And the vast majority of them players haven't been the right calibre players for Manchester United and that. And this is why Ed Woodward has been criticised and stuff. And, Ed Woodward has been talking a lot recently, like I said to you. Ed Woodward insists we will not do business as usual in the summer transfer market. He said that last Friday to a fans forum. But he came out earlier on this week and he's, given Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a transfer promise. And Ed Woodward said, we will remain highly competitive in the summer transfer market, because I think Ed Woodward wants us to bring around 4 signings in the summer transfer market. And Solskjaer still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young British players to Manchester United. But Solskjaer has recruited 5 players in so far and spent around £220 million. Of course, last summer brought James, Bissaka and Harry Maguire. And in January, he brought Bruno Fernandes and Odin Ighalo in. And I've got to say, Solskjaer did enjoy a successful January transfer window. But I think, we've got to get qualification for the Champions League for next season if we are to attract players to the elite level and stuff. So let's just put that into the equation. But Solskjaer's already revealed his plans for the summer transfer market, because Solskjaer wants to be at Manchester United for the foreseeable future. And, you know, he wants to get us, you know, back up there, you know, challenging for trophies and stuff, and also to winning trophies. And he wants us, you know, to become title contenders. And, you know, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. You know, the last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. So that is 7 years ago now. And I've got to say, we have been playing catch-up for the last 6 or 7 years. You know, we've made a lot of mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years. And that's not only the explanation, but it's one of the main explanations why we've been so inconsistent. Obviously, I don't like the way the football club's been run for several years. You know, but we have been playing catch-up for several years now, and we haven't dominated football since the Alex Ferguson era. You know, like I said to you, know, Ferguson endured, what, 26, 27 years at Man United, endured 20-odd years of success. But, you know, don't forget, you know, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club when we recommended him in from Aberdeen. Didn't win anything in his first 4 years and was on the verge of getting the sack. But, you know, we won a total, I think, of 38 major honours under the Alex Ferguson era. Of course, one of the club's greatest achievements, of course, was in 1999, you know, when we did win the treble. And that's actually Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as a player. You know, we are the most successful team in England, you know, 20 titles, 13 of them Premier Leagues. So there you go. But in the last 6 or 7 years, like I've said, you know, we've had different managers with different philosophies. You know, look how much money's been spent. We've spent close to the £1 billion range on recruiting, you know, players in the last 6 or 7 years. Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. Of course, we sacked Moyes, we sacked Van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. So there you go. But like I've said to you before, give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more time. Give him at least another season at the football club, because it is a transition period, and, you know, he's hopeful, you know, that we can get through this transition period and that. But like I said, if we can, you know, like get Champions League qualification for the Champions League, and we can also get some silverware on the board, that will create a platform and then give us something to build on. Then hopefully next season, you know, we can, you know, be up there challenging for the leagues and that, and we hopefully can be competing with the likes of City and Liverpool. But, you know, Liverpool and City, let's be honest, are strides ahead of us at the moment. So there you go. And so yeah, so now let's delve into the news on Harry Kane. Then I will give you the news on Dayot Upamecano from RB Leipzig. So I haven't spoken to you about Harry Kane, have I, you know, for quite some time. I've just been reading some recent reports on Harry Kane. And Dimitar Berbatov's been talking a lot recently. Of course, Dimitar Berbatov is a former Manchester United player. And he's basically come out and said that he's 100% that Kane is thinking about leaving Tottenham in the summer. And he actually, you know, believes that Kane should come to Manchester United. Now, I'm going to reiterate some of the stuff that I did mention. Was it around 3 weeks ago when I last spoken with you about Harry Kane, or was it a couple of weeks ago? I'm going to reiterate now some of the stuff that I mentioned. Now, I'm very, very sceptical that Manchester United will sign Harry Kane in the summer. Maybe in the foreseeable future, you know, we could consider getting him and that, but very, very sceptical that we'll get him in the summer. Because don't forget, you know, Daniel Levy, who's the Tottenham chairman, he came out, did Daniel Levy, quite a few weeks ago, and he says Tottenham will only sell Harry Kane, providing that their asking price is met. And Tottenham said they wanted a world record fee of £200 million for Harry Kane. Now, obviously, you know, I said I'm very, very sceptical that Man United will pay £200 million for him. But quite a few weeks ago, Tottenham had offered Harry Kane to us, and they was willing to sell Harry Kane because, obviously, you know, they're still paying their stadium loan, aren't they? I think it did say at the time they still owe 630-odd million on the stadium loan and around 80-odd million in transfer fees. But I don't think any teams will pay £200 million for Harry Kane. Now, we've been in for Harry Kane for a while. I think we first expressed our interest in Kane under Louis van Gaal era. So, you know, we've been in for Kane for the last 5 years or so now. But we're not going to get him anyway because Solskjaer himself has confirmed it. He confirmed it the other week. You know, he gives a couple of main explanations, you know, why, you know, he's happy why he's happy we're not spending 200 million on Kane. Is because, you know, he believes Rashford's as good as Kane. Obviously, you know, it could make an impact on the development of Mason Greenwood, and we just basically won't pay £200 million for him. I did say, didn't I, if Kane leaves Tottenham, I think there's more chance of him going to Real Madrid or possibly Juventus. I don't think he'd continue applying his trade in the Premier League if he did leave Tottenham. I think he would go abroad. But Harry Kane did fuel a lot of speculation up back in March when he made the admission saying, you know, he could decide to leave Tottenham if he feels as though the team are not progressing. And he did say he will not stay at Tottenham for the sake of it. This is what Harry Kane had come out and said. But Harry Kane's revealed his ambition, and his ambition is to win silverware. And he's not experienced this, you know, at all, you know, during his Tottenham career. And he has been at Tottenham for several years. He's been in their senior squad since 2011. He's their third highest goal scorer, I think, in their history. Because I think he's got like 181 goals in all competitions. He's under contract with Tottenham till 2024. He signed a 6-year contract back in the summer of 2018, did Harry Kane. And I think he's on around 200 grand a week, isn't he? He has been out of a hamstring injury since New Year's Days, Harry Kane. He's sustained quite a few injuries during his career with Tottenham. And I think he's, 26 or 27 years of age. Maybe Harry Kane could go for £100 million. But he said, you know, a while back, Tottenham wanted £200 million. Kane could stay at Tottenham for at least another year. And he'll obviously, you know, see what happens. And if they don't match his ambition, then he will leave. But obviously, maybe in the next year or two, you know, you'll get Kane a lot cheaper, you know, than what you would in the this summer transfer market. Let's just put that into the equation. But, you know, Kane's a very, very good player, don't get me wrong, and he's well proven that in the Premier League. He's a prolific goal scorer, just too much money. And he's not the only striker that's been on our agenda. You know, there's been a hell of a lot of strikers on our agenda because we're in search for a striker. We're in search for a striker, but like I've said to you before, there's much cheaper solutions than Harry Kane. You know, obviously, you know, I think we're probably going to get Odin Ighalo on a permanent transfer, and it's going to cost us around £15 million to get Odin Ighalo on a permanent transfer. So he's a cheap solution. You know, obviously we've got Odin Ighalo on loan at the moment. We paid around 3 or 4 million to get him on loan, and we're like paying a third of his wages. Odin Ighalo's loan spell at the football club ends on the 31st of May, but I think we'll probably get him permanently. You know, Moussa Dembele, I give you the news regarding him recently. He's made an admission saying, you know, it could be hard to reject to move to Man United in the summer. He'd probably cost us in the 60-odd or 70-odd million pound range, still much cheaper than Kane. Erling Haaland, you know, he'd be a lot cheaper than Harry Kane. Timo Werner, he's available for £52 million because that's his release clause in his contract with Leipzig. But looking very, very likely he's going to be going to Liverpool. Well, he wants to make the move to Liverpool. Plus, Werner can play in more than one position. You can put him on the left, you can put him on the right, and you can play him centrally. So, Upamecano, again, he's a much cheaper solution than Harry Kane, but Man United will not sign Harry Kane. We have done business with Tottenham in the past, like I've said before, but Daniel Levy is a very, very hard negotiator, but he is a very, very good businessman, so I have got to give him that, you know. And Tottenham did lose Eriksen in January. They also lost Danny Rose as well at Newcastle. You know, so there you go. Now, let's give you the news on Dayot Upamecano from RP Leipzig. So, reportedly, you know, us and Arsenal have been given a boost for Dayot Upamecano. Now, the RP Leipzig managing director, he's come out and said that Dayot Upamecano will be sold by RP Leipzig this summer if he does not sign a new contract. Now, I think Sky Sports said, was it a day or two ago, he's actually now close to signing a new deal with them. Now, Dayot Upamecano's contract does expire next year. That's obviously his current contract. Arsenal have been relentlessly linked with him anyway. Now, I think he's available for around £50-odd million. Because I think he got around a £53 million release clause in his RP Leipzig contract. Now, Dayot Upamecano is only at the age of 21. As you all know, he is a centre-half. Like I've said to you know, we've got quite a few centre-halves on our agenda, but I'm actually very, very sceptical that we'll sign a centre-half in the summer. You know, there's more areas that are more of a priority, you know, like getting a midfielder, getting a centre-forward and getting a right winger. And like I've said to you, we have got a lot of centre-halves in our team. We've got Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof that are our first choice centre-halves. We've got Bay and Tuanzebe that are our backup centre-halves. Obviously, we've got Fosamenta that can play as centre-half. Jones, he's there. But obviously, Jones, he'll be leaving Manchester United, I think, in the summer. Rojo and Smalling are out on loan. But I think we'll be getting rid of them on permanent transfers as well. So maybe these room to recommend a centre-half in, but I just don't think we will, to be quite honest with you. Arsenal want a centre-half, don't forget, they've got a few centre-halves in the team. They got David Luiz last summer from Chelsea for 8 million. I think William Saliba is going to be joining them, is he, in June, I think, if the football season resumes. But they have got William Saliba because they got him from St Etienne. Don't forget, back in January, this was under Arteta, they got Pablo Mari on loan. They also got Cedric Soares and that. But Arsenal still want to try and get a deal over the line for Dayot Upamecano. I think a few clubs have expressed their interest in him. I think this is his third season with RB Leipzig. I think he's played around 70-odd games in the Bundesliga for Leipzig. And I think Leipzig did pay around, was it £9 million for him from Red Bull Salzburg. So, they got him for next to nothing, basically. But I do rate him a lot. He's a very, very good centre-half. Do you think he'd go well alongside the likes of Lindelof and Harry Maguire in our back line? So, yeah, the RP Leipzig managing director has said that he will be sold if he doesn't sign a new contract. And he's also confirmed as well that Timo Werner will be leaving. So they're two players that I think are expected to leave RP Leipzig. So yeah, so that's the latest news on that. Of course, I give you the news, didn't I, on Paul Pogba earlier on. I give you the breaking news on him. Now, reportedly, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants Paul Pogba to stay at the football club because he wants him to build a partnership with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has told Paul Pogba he wants to make him a key part of the club's future. So probably Solskjaer thinks that Paul Pogba is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. I've just been reading reports regarding Pogba, and it says the Juventus director has said that teams will struggle to meet his wage demands because Pogba is one of the highest paid players at the football club. He's on around, £300,000 a week. Obviously, don't forget, Paul Pogba's got exactly a year now remaining on his contract with us because, we decided not to trigger that 1-year extension on his contract, don't forget. But reports said recently, if Paul Pogba does not leave in the summer, we will extend his contract. Reports have been coming out saying that, Pogba could go for just 60 or 70 million pounds in the summer, so we'll get less, than what he's worth. Because, we did pay £89 million for him from Juventus back in 2016. I've always said it, and I'll say it again. I think if Paul Pogba leaves the football club in the summer, he'll go to Real Madrid. If he doesn't go to Real Madrid, I think he will go back to Juventus. I really, really do. Don't forget, swap deals have been on the agenda. It says, that Juventus are willing to offer 2 of their players in a swap deal for Pogba. Damasio's confirmed Man United and Juventus have been in conversations about this. Also, too, it said the other week that PSG had offered 2 of their players for Paul Pogba. Reports, I think this is stemming from the Italian press, and they've said now that Inter Milan have expressed their interest in Pogba, so could possibly Paul Pogba reunite with Antonio Conte because he's played under his guidance before. Like I said, Barcelona have been in for Paul Pogba in the past, but Paul Pogba's still got the same perception as what he had last summer because he revealed last summer that he wanted to leave Manchester United and he still wants to leave the football club. But I think Pogba would go well alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. Obviously, Paul Pogba's only played 8 times this season for the football club. His appearances have been limited due to his injuries and that. So, obviously, if Paul Pogba is to leave, it's very, very essential that we do get an adequate replacement for him. I think Donny van der Beek is our #1 candidate now to replace Paul Pogba at the football club. So there you go. But I keep up to date as much as I can of what's going on and that. Like I said, Solskjaer's planning to get rid of around 5 or 6 players in the summer transfer market. We're going to get rid of around 5 or 6, aren't we? And we're hoping to generate over £100 million for the players that we get rid of in the summer. I've already gone through with you, the players that I think we will get rid of. Lingard, Pereira, Jones, Smalling and Rojo, they'll also go on permanent transfers. Possibly Dayot could be moved on as well. So there you go. But like I said, Tino, you saw my video, one of my videos that I did yesterday, and I give you the 5 best decisions that Solskjaer's made since he got appointed in as Man United manager. It was actually reported that in the Manchester Evening News yesterday. I think like Solskjaer's promoted the youth very, very well. His approach to the big games have been very, very good. Obviously, he bolstered our defence up last summer. We are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. Our best vein of form since Solskjaer was the interim manager. So things have improved under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. But, there's still things he needs to work on. He needs to, suss out his best formation because he's changed formation persistently throughout the course of this season. His approach to the games against lower opposition needs to improve because, to me, in the games against lower opposition, he hasn't really had a plan A or he hasn't really had a plan B and stuff like that. But, yeah. But us sacking Solskjaer, will not get you anywhere, mate. It won't get us anywhere. It will not get us anywhere, sacking Solskjaer. So he does deserve at least another season at the football club. He has been here over the year now as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but we will see what happens in that. And like I said, we've got 9 players' contracts, I think, that are due to expire next year. So that's something else we need to work on as well. To be fair, we have extended quite a lot of players' contracts, since Solskjaer came in. So that's also another positive. Like I said, there's still a lot of players that I think will stay at Manchester United. And I think there's quite a lot of players that have got foreseeable futures at the football club, like I've mentioned. But a lot of players have improved under Solskjaer, like Fred's done well, Martial, Shaw. They all endured difficult times under the Mourinho era. Lindelof's done well as well. The signings he's recommended have done really, really well. Rashford's done very, very well. He's another one. So we have got a really, really good squad. It's just not good enough yet, to, win the league or challenge for the league and that. So there you go. But like I've said to Solskjaer, I've been very, very critical of him this season. He's not the worst manager, Man United have had, Probably the worst manager we had, was David Moyes. I don't think Ron Atkinson was so good, He came in before Ferguson, I think. Obviously, we had Franco Farrell at one point. I think we got relegated under Franco Farrell back in 1974 and all of that. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.